Alrighty, welcome back. Another episode, C-Suite Unfiltered with Mike Andes.
Week off because of training last week.
Took a week off. Welcome to 11 new locations to Augusta. Yep. Very exciting. Very excited for all those folks.
Dude, I just know you had a couple gray hairs coming in, dude.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I have, if you look, when I grow my hair out a little bit, you can see some here on the temples.
Oh, yeah.
So
it's that kid.
I'm embracing it. No, I've had little bits of gray here and there.
Okay.
My mom, shout out, she was full like salt and pepper by 20.
Wow.
She had full salt and pepper hair by 20. She had very, very dark brown hair. So I'm like, hey, I'm 30. You know, if I get full salt and pepper by 40, I'll embrace it.
Yeah, okay, all right.
As long as I still have hair. No offense. No offense. As long as I don't care what color my hair turns, as long as I have it, I'll embrace it.
All right.
Will you be if you go gray, will you be a natural guy?
What does that mean?
Like, will you just let it go gray, or are you going to fight it?
I had no idea. I'll attack that when I get there. But my dad's side doesn't go gray until like 60s and 70s.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But my mom's side goes gray really, really soon. So I don't know. We'll find out.
I'm going to go natural.
Yeah.
I think I like it.
Let's go.
Wait,
do a lot of guys dye it?
I don't know. That's why I'm just asking you.
Oh.
I think it's becoming more and more common.
Really?
For guys to
Dude, if I was going to dye my hair, I just do straight black.
Yeah.
I just went like jet black.
Well, here, let's just talk about, male trends, if you will.
Okay.
Go back 50 years. Okay.
Probably the wrong person to talk about male
Well,
trends.
Sure. Okay, let's go back 50 years, like the 70s.
Yeah.
How many guys do you think had a facial routine?
Not very many.
Yeah, like probably less than 10%.
Yeah. Do you put moisturizer
No,
on?
of course
Never.
not. But like almost all my friends have some sort of like facial routine.
Interesting.
Guy friends.
Okay.
Like, so I just think it's becoming more and more common to like...
Oh, so you're thinking it's going to become more common to dye your hair?
Dye your hair. Okay. Everything. All of that stuff.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That's fair.
Would you not agree?
Oh, I would agree. Yeah.
Like, I know a lot of my guy friends have like a legitimate like face cleaning routine. And I'm like, isn't that just soap and in the shower? I don't. So, anyways, that is off topic. Let's get on topic here with the stock market.
Yeah.
Stock market watch. So at time of recording, it is Thursday, August 8th. I'll try to get this up by the 9th.
Market's like way up today, isn't it?
But the market bounced back on Thursday, which is weird because if you're looking at the market on Monday, it, by all technical definitions, and I'm no expert here, really it crashed. It had a crash on Monday. Many, many, many blue chips, S&P, Dow Jones, you name it, all had substantial losses on Monday, and even some carried over into Tuesday. Now, I don't have a specific article. I'm no economist by any means, but Mike Andes, any initial thoughts on this weird mini crash to now mini rally, where a lot of these stocks, and I even looked at my portfolio today, I'm like, what is this weird mini rally that happened today?
Yeah. So like the general gist of why the market's freaked out, was it Sunday night or Monday night?
Well, it was Monday when we saw like the mini crash. Some carried over into Tuesday.
But I think it was Sunday night. Sunday night is when in Japan, their stock market went down by 25%. And the reason for that was because of what's called the carry trade. Think of it like really, really basically, you have really, really low interest rates in Japan, and you have high interest rates in the U.S. So what do? You borrow money from Japan, and then you go invest it in the U.S., i.e. buy our treasury bonds. So if I can use the carry trade and just basically get money from Japan at 1.5%, and then I go over to the U.S. and get 5% on their treasury bond, we're good until they increase their interest rates. Or the value of their currency goes up, because now when you bring the U.S. dollars back to Japan dollars or yen, it's worth way less, and that's what happened.
Okay.
And so as soon as the yen strengthened, like because of them increasing their rate like the way they did, the carry trade coming back with currency of the currency exchange messed up. And so that's like the very, very 30,000 view. There's a lot of other stuff involved there. But, and then basically Japan stepped in and was like, yeah, we're going to they just did so much to backstop it. And so it kind of took away the threat and the risk for them. But you can only do this so long. Like Japan, if I remember correctly, it was like 240% of their GDP is in debt. Right, like the U.S., I think for context, it's like 120 or 130% of our GDP in debt. And so they are like literally double debt than us in comparison to the size of their economy. And so they're in a bad spot. And that for that reason, their economy has been stagnant, if not declining, in terms of, because they have declining population.
Yes.
It's been really, really hurting really the last 30, 40 years, whereas the U.S. has, our economy continues to grow at 2 or 3, 4% a year. So anyways, all of that to say, That is why I was thrilled. When it crashed on Sunday night, dude, I was so happy. I had moved into all of my index funds, and so all the big stocks that like took massive hits, like Tesla went way down, Google went way down, all the big names. I was like over here was just like a 1.5% down on the day of my index funds. I was like, let's go.
Yeah, totally makes sense. Yeah, so this is from Investopedia, and it said U.S. stocks tumbled Monday amid a global equity sell-off led by Japanese stocks, which led to their worst day since 1987. The yen carry trade, a popular investment strategy that exploits the gap between low Japanese interest rates and high rates elsewhere, may be one key factor in recent market volatility. A more aggressive Bank of Japan and soft U.S. economic data have threatened to narrow the gap between Japanese and U.S. interest rates, promoting an unwinding of the trade. Analysts say that the future of the carry trade largely depends on the trajectory of the U.S. economy and the magnitude of any response by the Federal Reserve. So what does, for a layman, someone that doesn't understand all the complexities, but you are more well-versed in these macroeconomics, if you will, than myself and probably a lot of our listeners, what would you say the Federal Reserve has to do now for the U.S. to protect against this happening again, or potentially protect against further crashes or further losses?
A normalization of the interest rates is helpful, but like Japan's always gonna have a lower interest rate than us because they have their economy isn't growing. They have to keep interest rates low in order to spur economic development. I don't know. It's not a matter of preventing, like, when if everyone on earlier this week was like, we have an emergency, rate cut. It's like, dude, they're not going to do that. They're trying to protect against inflation right now. So I think in any time you have, these small economies of countries, like you're going to always have these arbitrages. And that's what this has been. Because Japan is one of the few economies that is modernized that does have such low interest rates because of a declining population and because like they have negative interest rates, like which means you go to the bank and you pay them to keep your money. Like we get a little bit of an interest rate here, and if you're going to a high interest yield savings account, you get 3-4% right now. Right. That doesn't happen. What we are experiencing back in 2020 and 2021 when we had zero interest rates is what they've been in for ages because they have no one's like bringing money. When you have a declining population, you're fighting uphill battle. Like your economy can be growing, but if you're declining population, you have a problem. And so how do we prevent this? I don't think it's necessarily prevention. It's a matter of like making sure our economy is strong enough to be able to ward this sort of stuff off. And it seemed to do that this past week.
Well, okay, so it's interesting that you mention declining birth rates because I recently saw Elon post this. Oh, sure. He retweeted an account, and this was all he said in his retweet or his quote tweet. He said, "Population collapse is accelerating." That's it. Not even a period. Just that's it.
Did he put that on Sunday or on Monday morning?
That was posted on the 7th. So it would have been 2 days ago. So it would have been Monday.
Got it.
Monday at 9 p.m.
Okay. So
potentially after seeing the markets react to this, I don't know. But this is the tweet from @morebirths. It said, what most people fail to grasp about the low birth rate crisis is the sheer speed of the decline. This chart from the New York Times shows how much births have dropped in 1 year. Basically, in the lowest amount of drop is Denmark, minus 1.9%. U.S. is also tied with Denmark, minus 1.9%. This is year over year. But the highest couple of countries, you have the Czech Republic, Ireland, and Poland, all over 10% decline year over year.
In 1 year?
In 1 year, yeah.
Wow.
So now you do have, this is interesting, the Philippines are plus 6.7%. Yeah. Thailand is plus 3.6%, and Malaysia is plus 2.2%. Those are the only countries from this chart from the New York Times that had positive year-over-year birth rates.
Even from Africa?
This is from the New York Times. I don't know exactly what they're tracking. I don't know if this is everything.
I guess this is acceleration versus absolute numbers. Because I would assume as absolute numbers, Africa is still significantly higher.
I would guess if I had to. Like I said, this is just one tweet. Yeah. But what are your thoughts on that, knowing that what you just said? Okay, so Japan doesn't have a high enough birth rate to keep up with a growing economy.
No, well, I didn't say birth rate. I was talking about population.
Population.
They have an aging population, so people are dying faster than they are being born. So yes, you could tie this back to birth, but it's not necessarily just that.
Fair enough. Yep, so I was making a jump there. Appreciate the clarification. But let's assume that the world continues in this direction of declining birth rates.
Yeah, you out here trying to fix it, bro.
Yeah, well, one kid, all right, one time. How do you feel about Elon Musk saying? What do you think he was tweeting in relation to the stock market crash, like putting this all together?
Oh yeah, he was.
Okay, so what do you feel? How do you feel about population collapse is accelerating?
I don't think about this enough. Okay. I maybe it's like a existential thing that I will eventually kill us, but I don't think about this at all.
Fair enough.
So I don't research it at all. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I was just wondering because a lot of people do talk about it, and Elon Musk has been quoted saying that the biggest threat to our society is population collapse, and that's one of his excuses. Sounds harsh, but for having so many kids.
Yeah, with a bunch of
different women. Yes. Which I'm not gonna judge him per se, but. That's his reasoning behind it. At least what he publicly says.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if you had any thoughts on that.
Oh man. I do think it's like if you just look at generally like the poorest people have the highest birth rates and the richest have the least. And like just following that logic, you're going to have more and more of what we have now, which is the dispersion of the rich become richer and the poor become poor. And so I think it will just continue to reinforce this notion that you're getting a smaller and smaller segment of the population holds more and more of the wealth, and now it's just being done with birthing, because you're having this amount of wealth being spread out amongst more people, and you're having this amount of wealth being now shrunk down to less people, and so it'll just compound.
Yeah. And that's, I think, why people get frustrated by, inheritance kids, right? Or trust fund babies, if you will. They just get the wealth from previous generations. And if that funnel keeps getting narrower and narrower, well, guess what? You're just making the 1%, the 0.1% bigger and bigger and badder and badder, if you will.
And they will have more and more power, politically, economically.
That's what I mean by bigger and badder. Like, they're just going to have more power over the working class, the poor classes, if you will. So, interesting. What are your thoughts on, I like asking people this. What are your thoughts on, obviously you don't have any kids, but like generational wealth? We talk about it at Augusta, it's a positive thing, but what are Mike Andy's personal thoughts? Hopefully, maybe you have kids one day. I know you've said you would like to do that. What do you feel about passing things down to your kids? Do you believe in giving all of it, portions of it, segmenting it out like they have to work for it? Some people have very diverse opinions on this.
I would say like the greatest thing you pass along to your kids is the ideologies of the rich. And so, I wouldn't give them money. But the reason that even when rich kids don't get money, the reason they usually become wealthy is because they've been around the right people. They've connected. They know they've seen how rich people operate, and they've seen how people take big swings at things. They see how they are all constantly investing in assets. How they think much larger in terms of like, yes, I will buy the private jet because it is going to make me way more money. They're used to big swings, and so I just genuinely believe that if you took a kid that was super rich, born, and then threw him inside a poor family, he'd probably become poor, unfortunately. And then you take a poor kid and you throw him inside of a rich family, they probably become rich, with or without an inheritance. It's simply because that the person becomes so normal to transact, to do deals, to be selling, to be networking, to be constantly grinding. And so I take the last one back, because grinding, that's when you're poor, that you still have to grind. You're not doing it in a leveraged way. And so the rich people traditionally, they simply just leverage things other than their time, and they will grind on ideas, they will grind on concepts, instead of typically the poor will grind on labor only. And so if you're going to go from poor to being rich, you will go through a period of grinding on labor, but you have to eventually have a higher form of leverage, and that is where your money starts to work for you, and you start to employ other labor, and you start to employ code, and you start to use your capital that gets interest on it. And so seeing that allows you to become rich. It's the knowledge part. Knowledge. You gotta get that knowledge. And but it is true. It is true.
So you say the ideologies of the rich is one of the most important things you can pass down to your kids. I don't necessarily disagree with you, but I think you should unpack that a little bit, in the sense of you're referring to the rich people that none of us know about.
What do you mean?
As in the rich people that are not social media celebrities or trust fund babies. Like, I don't know if you necessarily, and this, I'm generalizing here. So hear me out. I don't know if she actually knows business. Okay. You don't want your kids to have the ideologies of, say, a Paris Hilton.
Don't know who that is. Sorry.
Okay, well, her father owns Hilton Hotels,
Oh.
and she was just kind of a trust fund baby. She had a reality TV show for a while.
Okay.
So when you say the ideologies of the rich, some people might be like, so trust fund babies? But you're saying the ideologies of the rich that are still actively involved in building businesses and being a part of their community.
Okay, so I would push back on that because Paris Hilton, whoever this person, the girl.
Yes.
Okay,
I'm just honestly
great.
surprised you don't know who that is.
Sorry. Interesting. So I would say that she knew enough from being in a rich family to not go and perform in her local studio, but rather to make a TV show. Mm-hmm. Like someone that was poor and had her level of skill, for example, or even more skill, they would probably go do something small. Mm-hmm. She had the resources, yes, but also the ability to realize that being on TV was better than the radio. Mm-hmm. And the radio would have been a cheaper option to go for. And yes, she was given the resources to be able to jump to that level, but she didn't choose to go to the radio. Mm-hmm. And so yes, I agree. The resources in that case probably unlocked a lot of things for her. And so so like, are you saying that she didn't deserve?
What you're saying is, no, I'm not saying anything about her specifically.
Oh, okay.
I'm pushing back on the comment that you want to transfer the ideologies of the rich to your kids.
If you want them to be rich.
Right.
If we're measuring simply economic success,
right?
What made you rich, you should pass along to your kids.
Mm-hmm. But you are talking. Well, I guess what I said is you're talking about rich people that we don't know about, not celebrities.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
That's what I'm getting at. Because there are so many rich people that we like. Myself.
Yeah, but they might have got rich because they were a celebrity.
Right, but like a middle-class American like myself and others that are listening to this can think of a lot of rich people off the top of their head that they would never want their kids to be like.
Okay.
So you're saying what ideologies of the rich do you want to pass down to your kids?
I'm talking about economics. Like,
yes.
Like all the other stuff.
Yes.
Like that's whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying if you want them to be rich, you will pass that knowledge along to them.
Yes.
And they will be in environments that being rich is commonplace, normal, it's not surprising, and that's what sets them up for success. Now, in terms of all the other baggage that comes along with it, there's a bunch of garbage, and then you need probably a bunch of therapy and all the rest of it. But just from an economic standpoint, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
Your point's valid.
I just want to clear that up because I feel like if you just quoted that, if you clipped that, Mike Andes said he thinks the most important things he can give his children is the ideology of the rich. I can see someone,
if I want to make them rich.
I could see someone like super cutting that with like all these
but it'd be the same. It'd be the
celebrities.
same thing as saying like if I wanted to make my kid an absolute stud of an athlete, what should I do as an athlete? I should pass everything I know of athletics to them. And so if you want them to be rich, if that's the goal, and you are rich, don't give them the money, right? Don't give them the medal, the trophy. Like, see, now you're successful too. No, like. Go give them the discipline required. Like, give them the tools and the knowledge required to get what you have.
Right. Don't just give them the assets, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
The ideologies over the assets.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think when I think of rich people, my mind will typically tend to think of those who just have the assets.
Right.
Would you agree that our society reduces rich people to those that have the assets? I mean, that's the definition of rich.
Yes.
Right. So it's hard to, for a lot of people, I'm speaking generally here, probably draw a line between asset rich and ideologically rich.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
I'm not saying we're at an impasse, but I think that people would poke holes in the ideologies of the rich.
The ideology of the rich made them rich. Whether or not that made them a nice person, that's inconsequential in this context.
Yeah.
So I would agree. Yeah. Being rich has a lot of negative consequences, especially to second generation kids. But if you want to make them rich, whatever you did to become rich, like the grind, the hustle, the dedication, pass that along to them, and they will probably do the same thing. Yeah. And they'll probably get a whole lot of other baggage because they were handed to them a lot easier.
Yeah. Now back to your hypothetical kids, your fake kids.
Oh, brother.
Will you give them some assets, or are you kind of like a no?
I haven't thought about it. Yeah. No.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I don't think about this stuff. Sorry.
I don't know. I just
I'll think about it one day.
Yeah,
I'm sure,
totally. All right, fair enough. Cool.
I definitely won't give them money. Like definitely not cash. Mercy goodness, that's the last thing you want to do.
Yeah. Some bonds.
I don't know. Let me think. I would. Yeah, that's tough. I've seen so many businesses that are multi-generational where they groom their kid up to basically take their spot, and those work really well sometimes. But then other times they just fall apart like massively. Like third generation companies are really tough. They usually don't have a very good track record. So, and I wouldn't want to like impress on them that they have to be that for me. But it would be cool to see like your protege take over what you've done. Yeah. That would be cool.
Like Sam Walton, I think we could agree that he did it successfully.
Yeah. Yeah. And then everyone hates his kids.
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Of course they do. That's what I'm talking about. They don't like his kids because they just see his kids as the people with assets. They did nothing, but they have the assets.
They got it. Yeah, they just got handed to them.
Which I'm not saying they did.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, but a lot of times, if you're being handed the reins of something, it's good that you have climatized to it. And so the kid has already climatized like to the business, to having the money, having the jets. Like it's not like a new thing all of a sudden. Yeah. So sometimes it works, honestly, and that's a good example of like a good case of Sam Walton passing it to kids, and it still works. Yeah. So whether or not it can go to the third generation, that's a different story. That's can be tough.
Yeah, fair. All righty. Well, we're just kid heavy today, apparently. Okay. But not really. We talk about education when we talk about our kids.
Okay.
So Jordan Peterson.
Okay.
Somewhat of a character that really can draw some differing opinions.
Okay. Polarizing.
What is polarizing, differing? What did you think of when I say the name Jordan Peterson?
A very intellectual.
Yeah.
Very intellectual.
Yeah. So Jordan Peterson used to be a teacher at, I believe, Harvard, a high-level school in Toronto. He's had tenure in different very, very, very high-level traditional educational schools and universities. He has recently announced, I believe, on the Joe Rogan podcast, that he is launching the Peterson Academy. So petersonacademy.com, because he has been very vocal about the flaws that he sees in the modern educational bodies that exist, primarily the universities. So he just released this, and this is a brief, if you will, on his website, petersonacademy.com. So new video courses every month, expert taught 8-hour courses by professors from Harvard, Cambridge, Oxford, and more. So he brought in these professors, and I listened to the podcast that he did with Joe Rogan to get more information. He basically said, we vetted these people that have very, 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 very high levels of intellect and specialization. And we said, unlike Harvard, Cambridge, Oxford, and all these schools that you have all taught for and had tenure with, at Peterson Academy, you get to teach, period. You don't have to say certain words. You don't have to get to a certain point at the end of every lecture. You literally get to teach. So they take pretty much all the reins off of these experts to allow them the freedom to teach. And they did it in these really cool setting. So I could put up a screenshot, but basically the idea is they do have live students to make it feel like more of a classroom effect. And then it's shot in this giant warehouse that's all white walls. And then they can put graphics and like slides on the walls to make the course almost like more interactive and like fill the whole background with like pictures and images and things of that nature. So the long and short of it is he wanted to create a more cost-effective way for people to actually receive an education, if you will. Right now, the pre-enrollment, if I'm not mistaken, I think is like $6.99 a year. So that's if you enroll now. It's obviously pricing.
That's not horrible.
Obviously, pricing will go up. Let me see if I can find it. It's listed somewhere. I think it's like there it is. Oh,
$449.
$450 a year. So that's pre-enrolled. So I think maybe it's going to go up to $6.99 a year.
Interesting.
But it's $450 a year if you pre-enroll. And this is a sampling of the courses that they've already shot, that are already recorded. I can put a screenshot up. But Introduction to Nutrition, Intro to Psychology, Plato, Symbolism and Christianity, Psychology of Social Status, Economics of Human Flourishing, Postmodern Philosophy, Intro to Cosmology, and a bunch more. So... You described him as very intellectual.
Yeah.
He's launching his own academy. What are your thoughts on this? It's kind of a different option to traditional university.
I'm just not smart enough, dude. I'm sorry. I don't get a lot from that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
If it doesn't make me money, I check out pretty fast.
Yeah.
And so like cosmology, like look, I'm sure there's a lot of really important stuff up there. I'm just not probably going to be up there anytime soon, and it's not going to affect my life.
Yeah.
And so I really like when he talks about like family stuff. He talks about relationships. He talks about Christianity. But like when he goes so deep, I'm just like, I'm sorry, I'm lost, dude.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna be honest over here. Like even him talking to Elon, like there were so many elements where Elon like he was like, come on, Elon, like you don't know what you're talking about here.
Yeah.
This is way beyond your level. And it's because the guy's a doctor of this stuff.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think it's awesome. I think it's fantastic. Like I'm seeing a couple in here that I do think are cool, like the boy crisis, neuroscience. I would like nutrition. I would like, but like a lot of these, it's just over my head.
Yeah.
So
fair enough. Yeah, I just think it's a cool concept. I think, there are a lot of online courses out there, but I like that it's different than an online course. Like, it is an online course. I'm not going to argue for or against it. I think the reason I like it is that he's basically taking former colleagues that he knows are literal field experts. Yeah. And at the top, like, I don't know if this is their slogan, but I guess it's education devoid of ideology. Yeah. He said, I brought these people in to teach, period. They don't have to say certain buzzwords. They're not going to teach within a political framework. They're going to teach on this topic and give you as much information as humanly possible about this topic.
See, I wish the same thing could be made for business, but like, every good business owner or business person has a value attached to it, right? Like, and it'd be hard. Like in this case, he has the eyeballs to be able to get all these experts together and pay them very well to be able to make this happen. Like it just, man, I just wish something like this was a business. Like I'd say the closest thing like was what Alex is trying to do with his books and like with their education side of things, but it's a little more higher end, like $5,000 to go to their workshops and things. If he made something like this, I think it'd be pretty cool. But again, in the business community, this would be very much looked down on because you're monetizing the information and there's just so much scam around that. And so there hasn't been a lot in this field, which is like neuroscience and psychology and that sort of thing. So he'll crush it. They'll make tens of millions of dollars on this, which is fantastic. I'm glad. And I think it'll be really good quality education for that realm. I'm just not super interested. So nothing against the topic, though.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, I honestly thought about it. I was like, I wonder if I could just do it for a year and like cancel, to like get a taste of it. Yeah. But they actually have like there is like legitimate homework for this. Yeah. There will be final exams.
Can you watch some of these?
Yeah. I mean, you want to?
Yeah, open one up.
Which one?
Dude, I don't even know how to say that, but like click on that.
Nietzsche.
Yeah. What does that mean? Oh, dude, is that a real building?
Yes. It's a real studio.
But it's a warehouse?
Yeah, it's like a studio.
Oh, studio.
In like a warehouse.
Got it.
But like that wall is real.
Oh my word. Oh, this is shot well.
Yeah. He said that I don't know if he said hundreds of thousands or millions. He said we spent massive amounts of money on production.
Yeah.
He's like, we want you to get your money's worth.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Brilliant, romantic.
Oh, this is okay, so yeah.
Insightful, deep.
So they can do those edits behind him.
That's pretty cool. See, like even like what I did with the courses and stuff, like MBA for entrepreneurs. I like to one day like make an actual MBA and just make it for free.
Yeah.
And I like to have enough money to where I could actually hire the best accountant, the best attorneys, and then I would pay them and then just make something like this.
Yeah.
And like this is my gift to give on to people. And again, it's very inspired by like, what Alex has done with like free, all his course stuff is free and et cetera. But to be like kind of doing a very high production level like this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, good for him.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I thought, for like in my opinion, low price $450 for a year pre-enrolled, you get access to all of it. So it's not like you pay per course or pay per credit hour. But that was one thing that he said they are trying to work with certain governing bodies. He said, we don't necessarily really care in the sense of having a piece of paper to prove that people actually took these courses, but he knows that it holds value to the people that are enrolling to say, yes, I passed the Intro to Nietzsche course, Jordan Peterson, and they're working on getting some sort of certificates, not necessally getting accredited or accreditation, but some sort of certificate to say like you actually put in the time, the effort, the
Wouldn't
hours.
Wouldn't it be cool though, dude, if we could make something that was accredited, like you can get your actual MBA?
Yeah.
Dude, I'd be fired up. Dude, you would need probably at least 20 or 30 million. But dude, I would love to do that. I'd like to be like, just like, forget regular education. I'm going to make the best MBA you could possibly have. Like go try to top this at Harvard and then just make it for free.
Yeah. So let's say your current MBA for entrepreneurs compared to a true MBA program?
Oh, mine doesn't touch it because it's just like the depth that you get.
Right, but what I'm saying, yours compared to a traditional MBA program.
Well, I'm not an expert in the topics. I'm giving like a very high level view for small business owners.
Right.
But if I actually want to compare apples to apples with another MBA program, like you just don't go. I don't go as deep. Like I'm making a 30 to 60 minute segment on balance sheets in my current course.
Yeah.
You could spend a whole quarter on that in an MBA program with accounting. And so, but I would like it to be where it's like, I don't do all the teaching. I would do maybe some elements of like entrepreneurship and things, but like, I'd like to bring the best attorneys in, the best accountants, the best banking. Like you could bring in like absolute stellar people into a really good environment where the production was like off the charts, like they've done, and then just give it away.
Yeah.
Like that same education would be warrant of hundreds of thousands of dollars at say Harvard, but I'm gonna beat it out with even better professors. Like that'd be sick.
Yeah, very
like,
cool.
Yeah, forget you and your Harvard person. I'm gonna bring like the CEO of like a previous company like Netflix.
Yeah,
I'll give him $1 million to come do the course.
Yeah,
like that'd be sick. So anyway, sorry.
No, that's cool. I love that.
I digress.
No, I like that they get you hyped up because I feel like that's probably how Jordan Peterson felt about these topics.
Dude. Yeah, 100%.
Right? So very cool. All right, last thing I have on the docket for today.
Yeah, before your computer dies, dude.
Yeah, it's getting low. Is the medal count.
Oh, yeah.
The medal count
for the
Olympics.
Yeah, dude,
yes.
the U.S., they're crushing.
Yes. So current medal count right now, as the time of recording, is United States, 103 total.
Yeah, but only one more gold than China.
Yeah, only one more gold than China.
Like, what sport do we ever count second and third places?
Yeah, I agree with that. What are our golds in? Oh, we got 3 in gymnastics,
athletics,
9 in athletics. Well, what is athletics? Oh, so that's like running.
Yeah.
A lot of like the
track and
field. Thank you. All right, we got 2 in different cycling.
We got a bunch.
2 in fencing. Nice. 8 in swimming.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, shout out Katie Ledecky. There it is, dude. Yeah, Katie Ledecky's got a bunch. So, yeah. Okay. Team USA is crushing it right now.
Yeah.
Nothing's really come out from the Olympics. There haven't been any big stories.
Yeah.
I did take a couple screenshots of some random stuff that I thought might be interesting to talk to you about, but I'm assuming you haven't watched much of the Olympics?
No. The only one I saw that was pretty cool the other day was the guy that the 100-meter dash, where he like at the last minute, like he came, like it was so close. That one and the 400-meter, the 100 and the 400-meter, I watched those two.
Yeah.
The 400-meter was the one where he came back like at the very last from like 10 yards back.
Yeah.
And won. That was crazy, dude.
This was one screenshot of an Olympic moment I wanted to share with you because I thought it was very interesting. So this is a 51-year-old Turkish Olympian. He was doing the shooting sports.
The guy with the hand in the pocket?
Yes. No specialized lenses, eye cover, ear protection, and he got silver medal.
That was fire. I love
Absolutely insane.
Dude, there's so many good memes on that.
Yes, there's a million memes on it, but I thought it's also interesting that sometimes it doesn't, like the gear doesn't matter. Like I feel like you can make a cool analogy to business with that. I didn't know what it would be, but it's like, it's not the trucks, it's not the equipment, it's not this, that, or the other. It's like the execution.
Yeah.
And like he could stand there with no special gear, with his hand in his pocket, and still get a silver medal.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool. That was the only thing in the Olympics that's like stood out to me was that he's a master of his craft.
Yeah.
Doesn't need all these special things.
He got in a recent divorce. Did you hear about this?
No, I didn't do a deep dive on the guy.
Oh, yeah. He, what was it? He got recently divorced and he was like happy to stick it to his wife kind of thing because now he's getting all this attention.
Oh, that's funny. So, yeah, the U.S. is just dominating the Olympics like usual. But, yes, we only have one more gold than China, the People's Republic of.
Yeah.
And then, it's just kind of all over the place. So, but that's all I got.
Non-financial advice?
Not financial advice. Here's one. Okay. So this is a new one that my wife and I just came up with.
Okay.
Now, this isn't parenting advice. I want to be clear on that.
All right.
It is relationship advice / travel advice. But now that we have a child, we travel a lot. My wife's family is out of state. We also traveled this weekend. Okay. And I came up with a new philosophy that my wife and I are going to hold to.
Okay.
If we are traveling to do something that is specifically around family, whether it be my family or her family, the first night of that trip, we are not going to go see family. We're going to go do our own thing.
Okay.
That way, it settles you in kind of your relationship, your family, because when you go and visit family, it's usually instantly like, update us on this. How's this going? What's going on? Like, let's go get dinner. Let's do this fun thing. Let's have this event, right? Yeah. Versus, okay, we're traveling, so let's take the first 12 to 24 hours of the travel to just do our thing.
All right.
And then we'll go on the vacation. So it's a new philosophy.
I have never thought about that in my whole life.
It's awesome. It's great. That's what we did this last trip.
Okay.
The first 24 hours, it was just my wife and my son and I.
Okay.
And then we were my parents rented this huge cabin on the lake. It was super awesome. But we were in a giant cabin with like 12 other people. Yeah. So it's just chaos.
Yeah.
But we took the first 24 hours to like get on the same page, be a team. And then we went to the chaos.
So wait, but you were in the same cabin?
No.
Oh.
My wife and I, the first night, we went somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
And then we met everyone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a move.
It's a move, dude.
Let me tell you, it's nice.
Did it cause some family drama though?
No, not at all.
Really?
Well, no. So we traveled the day before everyone else was traveling.
Oh.
So my whole family was meeting on Sunday.
Oh.
We went and spent a Saturday night somewhere near where my family was meeting up.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good move.
Okay.
See, like, you're not married. You don't have to travel for family. It's intense.
Okay.
Traveling and doing family vacations is intense. I mean, I'm sure you've done those.
Yeah.
But it's different when you have a wife and now a kid.
Yeah.
Like, it's very chaotic.
Yeah.
So we have a new rule. If we're traveling to do a family-specific thing,
the
first night, we're just going to do our own thing.
Okay.
So, like, we're thinking about traveling to Tennessee for Christmas.
Yeah.
I was like, let's just, like, spend a night, 24 hours in Denver. I was like, I've never been to Denver. Let's just do it. She's like, okay. So we're going to go to Denver for 24 hours. Then we're going to go to Tennessee.
Poor Sarah has to put up with all your shenanigans.
She's on board. She thinks it's her idea. She's all on board.
Oh,
That's my financial advice. If you're married, you got kids, you're traveling to see family, it's always chaotic. Take a night before, 12 to 24 hours.
There you go.
Yeah.
My non-financial advice is run stairs.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're not in super good shape, just do double stairs. So like 2 at a time, but just walk it. It's going to be more of a hamstring butt workout. Your butt will be completely wrecked the next day. And then if you like cardio, then just actually run up and down the stairs. Just, you have good thick shoes. Otherwise, your knees will hurt.
Yeah.
But it's the best workout ever. So
I like it.
That's all I got.
That's the pod.